Hi guys, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today is another episode of Painting a Planeswalker. I am so excited that you guys love this series as much as I do. It is a series based on the game Magic the Gathering. Oh, that's upside down. Magic the Gathering is a card game, and Planeswalkers are basically the most powerful, important characters or cards in the game and story. And I am doing once a month where I paint myself to look like a Planeswalker. This month was requested by one of you guys. It was Vraska, and she is basically like a reptilian person, which is why I am green and have snakes in my hair, but you will find out more about her because as I do this look, I also tell you lore and you get to dive into the character, which is really fun. And if you have any requests for future painting of Planeswalkers, there are tons of Planeswalkers out there, and there are different Planeswalker cards even for Planeswalkers that I've already done. If you'd like to see like a different version of something I've already done, let's just get started. Vraska is a Gorgon planeswalker from the city plane of Ravnica, a world governed by opposing guilds who are often in conflict with each other. Because of her birth as a Gorgon, she was born to the Golgari, a guild aligned with green and black mana. The Golgari are a guild of outcasts who reside in the sewers of Ravnica, which they refer to as the Undercity, where their main function for society is to process the waste and rot of the world, providing the world with much needed sustenance and fertilization for the life above. Vraska grew up relatively normally, all things considered. Life was simple and even happy, but as with most things on Ravnica, guild feuds and fighting ultimately changed that. This particular feud was started with a murder. A murder on the streets of Ravnica sparked the involvement of the Azorius Senate. Conservative and zealous in their function to write and uphold the laws of Ravnica, they immediately saw the evidence as pointing to a member of the Golgari as being the perpetrator. Acting swiftly and without impunity, they raided the streets of the Undercity with mass arrests. One of the unfortunate innocent citizens to be swept up and detained was Vraska. She was imprisoned for months in a small, cramped cell with ever-worsening conditions. But the tides turned when simple requests were being dismissed and the jailers failed to realize that they were vastly outnumbered by the Golgari. They were swept under a sea of prison riots springing up across the compound. Vraska and some of her friends were spirited away to a safer location as the prison riots became more intense and the retribution of the Azorius, who hoped to regain control by a show of force, became even crueler. As the violence escalated, Vraska and her friends were freed, but the Azorius pursued her, seeing her as a huge threat, and targeted her as their highest priority for subduing. The guards found and seized her, beating her as she collapsed to the ground. Cold and darkness began to creep around her, her vision darkened, but it wasn't death that was taking her. The abuse she endured from her captors ignited her spark. She felt a pull from inside her and planeswalked for the first time. It's not known where she traveled first, but it took her years to learn how to control her powers. When she returned to her home plane of Ravnica, she was a different woman. She spent years learning about life and death and returned with a new creed. A person should die the death that they deserve. She took to the shadows and began her new mission. She became an assassin, doling out what she believed to be justice to those who she believed had escaped it through other means. But they would not escape her. She rose through the ranks of the Golgari swarm, and a sort of cult began to form around her. Other assassins joined her ranks, which she dispatched to eliminate those who she believed deserved to be eliminated. She became the hired gun of the Golgari guild leader, Jared, but was discerning about which contracts she accepted. She only accepted missions against those who interested or infuriated her, but always kept a special interest towards any involving the Azorius. Over time, and because of her swiftness and efficiency as a killer, she became seen more as an urban legend than a person. People began to even doubt her existence. She had no interest in politics or status, only the mission. But her plans soon changed when she tried to recruit another Planeswalker to her cause, Jace Beleren. She learned that Jace had become the embodiment of the living guild pact, an avatar of law on the plane, and believed that with their alliance they could dole out justice by murder, keeping all guilds in check and harmony. But first she had to get his attention. She did this by selecting very specific targets and petrifying them, then arranging their bodies to spell out Jace's name and a meeting place. Despite warnings from everyone around him, Jace went to the meeting place alone. As Jace stood in an abandoned meeting hall, he felt the presence of someone creeping up behind him. He turned to see a woman approaching him with a knife. His eyes flared blue as he began to dive into her mind, but he stopped as the girl's body slowly began to turn to stone, becoming a lifeless statue. From behind him, Jace heard the voice of another woman. "Do you know who I am?" Vraska asked. Jace said he had heard rumors of a shadowy assassin who had been causing quite a stir on Ravnica, but he had no idea that she was another Planeswalker, which pleased Vraska. She had an informational advantage over the ingenious Mind Mage. She continued speaking, informing him that she summoned him here not to kill him, but to offer him an alliance. Working together with the Guild Pact would allow her to do her work in the open, to make her plan and purpose known to all. Jace refused, saying that the Guild Pact is meant to protect the plane, not allow for the murder of its residents. Enraged, she grabbed him by the throat and began to crush the life out of him. She chastised him, stating that she knew him, that he was unfit to be the Guild Pact, and began listing the atrocities that Jace had committed before. As her grip tightened, Jace summoned illusions of himself to battle her, but with a glance she turned them all to stone. Finally, Jace relented under one condition. He demanded to know her mission. What was it she was truly working toward? "Unity for the plane and an end to oppression," she replied. She told him everything. She told him of her plans to assassinate the hierarchy of each of the 10 guilds, all the way up to the guild leaders, and then unite Ravnica under one rule. To end the tyranny of the guilds, she would destroy the guilds. When she finished, a voice in her head said simply, "Thank you." Her surroundings began to fade, and she saw the halls of the great cathedral, and looking down at her were the leaders of all the 10 guilds. Aurelia, the war leader angel of the Boros, Niv Mizzet, the genius dragon, and standing among them was Jace Beleren. She cursed him and quickly planeswalked away, knowing that, with her confession heard by all, she could never return home. And that is the first part of Vraska's story. Oh, just like with Jace, there's so much more. She becomes a pirate, falls in love, and defies a god. But those are stories for another time. And that is the completed Vraska look. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching me create this intricate green look as well as the lore. I forgot to say in the intro, the look that I created is based off one card, which I'll have up here, and also a DeviantArt photo that just a fan came up with, like a Vraska fan came up with, not a me fan. I don't have fans creating artwork for me. Oh, I have one fan. She's awesome that created an artwork for me. High five to her. That was a pretty cool drawing. But that's the picture of Vraska is right here. So these two are what inspired me. The cards of her really didn't have a lot of detail in the face, so it was hard for me to see a makeup look of Vraska with just the cards, so that's why I also went with this DeviantArt look. But this is what inspired the look, and I want to say that I forgot in the intro, but this series and every episode in this series is dedicated to my boyfriend for his birthday, and even though his birthday was a couple months ago, happy birthday again, because every month this is for you. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you have not already. Did I say scribe instead of subscribe? Oh well. Sometimes you can't talk because you're so excited. And I'm so excited about this look. So, I will see you guys next time. Bye!